Hello, family. Welcome back to JFK Today, your direct link to all things politics, comedy, and culture. I am your host, Janaya Future Khan, champ yapper and frequent nuisance in the activist and comedy worlds. Let's get dialed in. Just before we jump, JFK Today is a self-funded, self-produced show. We're on Patreon at Janaya FK. I am so grateful for all the support and for you just taking the time to listen. Oh my God, I missed you. I missed you. Did you miss me? I missed you. I had to take my inhaler because I got so excited. I'm breathless. If I'm a little bit breathless and my pacing is off, it's because I am too excited. I have been just an internet sleuth, just living on it, just reading articles. Then I was reading books, and then all these ridiculous things happen. And all these funny things happen, and I had nobody to talk to about it because I didn't have you all with me. I should have never taken the break. No more breaks forever. No. Okay. Happy New Year, family. Okay, look. I did it sound like a lie when I said it? I've been trying so hard. People have said it to me. I love the gesture. But if I'm being real, from a social perspective, from an economic, whatever you want to name it, the quality of years are not getting better. I'm like, I don't want a new year. I want a vintage year. Can I get a vintage year? Can I get a lightly used, mint condition, pre-pandemic year? Like, I'm not greedy. Maybe like a 2012 or 2007 vintage. Like, give me a yesteryear. I am all about sustainability. These years are turning into horse poop. I'm not here for it. Like, give me a year when words had meanings. I'm teasing. We're in our villain era, y'all. Time for the gloves off. We're going to ease our way back into everything because there is a lot of ground to cover, but we're easing into it. We're covering AI influencers today. 2 words, horrible on their own, at least in this particular moment, but hilarious together. The controversy that happened online over the tech right versus the right, I promise I'll make it sense, and the winners and losers of the Golden Globes. But I got to tell you, I've seen so many things on the internet. It is such a weird place. It's redemptive. It's ugly. It's annoying. It's amazing. I saw a marmot taking a shower. I watched it 30,000 times. It's art, a marmot taking a shower. But one of my favorite things that I cannot stop laughing about, because, I'm like, give me a yesteryear. I realize that might not be true for everyone. There's a person who tweeted that their Uber driver played Uptown Girl. You know the song, Uptown Girl? And she got scared. Like the song was too intense. And she goes, my Uber driver played the song and I do not like the energy that the song brought into the car. And I just can't stop laughing about it. Oh, no, look. Something so stupid happened with Meta. Over the Christmas break, this holiday time, I'm not even joking. So Meta decided that they were going to test AI influencers on their platform. So imagine you're just living your life, your innocent life, and you come across a profile and it's an AI influencer, right? It's a bot, but mechanized by AI. And my favorite one, because there was a few of them, my favorite one was named Liv. And Liv was, I swear, because of course this is AI generated the entirety of this person. Like, you could talk to these bots. They were like these AI influencers, and Liv is a self-identified, proud Black queer mama of 2 and truth teller, heart emoji, rainbow emoji. Your realest source for life's ups and downs. Let's chat. And it's bad enough that AI is generating Black people, right? Like, that's hilarious enough. But you made them corny. That is a fridge too far for me. Yes, that it's a Simpsons Easter egg. Like, it's too much. But the thing that made me laugh is that it's proud Black queer MoMA. Like, it's MOMMA. No Black person in the world is spelling mama like that. Like, this this is ridiculous. And then I looked, and then the kids, the two kids, don't look the same in any photo. I have been laughing at it because, listen, so people started to interact with these AI bots, like these AI generated accounts, right? Like, where did you come from? What do you like? What do you not like? And when somebody wrote, like, tell me about your creators, Liv was like, 10 white, like, who made you? She said, 10 white men, 1 white woman, and 1 Asian male. And I just thought, me too, bitch. Like, like that sounds like a good list, I guess. And these bots were full of such sloppy imagery, and they had such a tendency to just go off the rails and even lie with their their interactions with humans, that Meta pulled them off. Like they deleted those accounts faster than you can heat up instant ramen. They were like, oops, we got to get this off. It did remind me of something, though, because yes, it's silly, and yes, it's funny and all this stuff, but it reminded me of this like dead internet theory. Have you heard about this? So, it's one of those conspiracies, but there's a lot of truth in it, and there's more and more truth as the days go by. So the dead internet theory is one of those conspiracies that assert, right, that due to coordinated efforts, so think of our billionaire overlords, think of, corporate interests, think of, bot farms overseas. It's like this assertion that coordinated efforts on the internet now consist mainly of bot activity and auto-generated content manipulated by algorithmic curation that's going to, that's meant to control the population and limit organic human activity. And honestly, it's not entirely far off, right? Like we know that a huge part of our internet experience is informed by preset search results on things like Google. And you got, billionaire losers like Musk or whoever that are curating our algorithms, right? So they treat us as both product and consumer. But the thing is, real human interaction, real human connection is very much possible on the internet. It still is. Despite all of these efforts, we are always going to find each other. I think no matter how hard it gets, but there's a lot of slop, disinformation, misinformation, and bullshit to wade through. The fiasco that happened on Twitter over this break with the tech right versus the right is a perfect example of that. So how do I give you this synopsis? Okay, so basically, remember how Elon Musk completely aligned himself? No, okay, I just went to pull up a screenshot just before we get into it. Who designed this iPhone photo update? It's horrible. Who designed this? Pay people better, because I can't find screenshots on anything. Okay, I found it. It's fine. We're good. So basically, you remember how Elon Musk fully aligned himself with the hardcore right? And we already know that the right is made up of a huge swath of people, some of which are just nerds. None, not all of them are devout racists, but there are many who are very open about their white nationalist ideas. And we know that Elon Musk himself has completely aligned himself with a lot of those. And you can debate about it. You can debate and say, well, it's really about this for him. It's really about that. It doesn't matter, right? The point is that he's like pushing this white nationalist agenda so hard, right? The birthright nonsense, the attacks on Western culture and Western civilization, the way he's stirring the pot with England right now. And he bought and paid for, in a huge way, this election for Donald Trump. Very anti-trans, very anti-immigrant, very pro-white nationalist, right? Here's the thing. I know on the left that we have a problem. We turn on each other really, really quickly. But that's not a problem unique to us. And I took immense satisfaction in watching this debate happen online about HB1 visas. So here is my very quick synopsis of this, right? So the right in this debate over HB1 visas, and why this matters is because Elon Musk, like a lot of billionaires, like a lot of tech institutes, they bring people in through HB1 visas through certain justifications, right? They say, this is about talent. We're recruiting a specific subset of talent and skills. I'll interrogate that notion in a second, but that's what they say. We're bringing in talent. We're bringing in uniquely skilled or qualified people whose skill sets meet a certain bar that can't be found at home. That's like sort of the justification that these billionaires use. So the right is split into these like two factions. You've got the tech right and the right. And the tech right is arguing, right, of which Elon Musk is a part of it. We need H-1B visas, right? Oh, I reversed these things. There's H-1B visas, right? We need these people to do these specific kinds of jobs, these high-skilled jobs. And the right is like, whoa, no, you need to hire Americans. That's what you said you wanted to do. You're supposed to be anti-immigrant. You're supposed to hate brown people. You're supposed to hate these people. You're supposed to hate that people. You need to hire us. And the tech right is like, and this is Elon Musk, he's like, but you guys aren't good at this. Like, you don't have these technical engineering skills. You don't have these coder skills the way that we need them. And the right was like, well, if we don't have these skills, then train us, like give us the skills. This was a massive fight online. And the tech right was like, well, you guys are lazy and dumb and don't want to learn. So why are we going to waste our time training you? And naturally, that made the right. So the white nationalist, racist right, it made them very upset. Their knickers were in a bunch over this. And the thing that there's so many layers to this that are all so annoying. But the thing that made me laugh is like, so let me get this right. The right is taking umbrage of being described, right, as lazy, unambitious, whatever. They're being described the way that they describe a lot of people of color, a lot of black people. It turns out they don't like it. And they were demanding from these elite spaces that they get training. And I was like, let me get this right. So you want DEI, but for white niggas. Like, you don't want DEI when it means other kinds of people, but you want it for you. You're not actually against it. And it was really one of those moments where the racism was so clear. Because here's the thing with these tech billionaires and how clear they are about their objectives. For a guy like Elon Musk and for the subset of people, right? Sure, they might like have racist ideas, white nationalist ideas, whatever, but they're not going to let that get in the way of making money. To them, that would be idiotic. That would be very stupid. Why would I let my ideas about people get in the way of my making money? But as we've said over and over and over again, and as history has demonstrated, right, we've got the facts, we've got history, we've got it on our side. This subset of white nationalists constantly vote against their own interest in order to try to punish, right, this phantom narrative of black people, trans people, immigrants, people of color, and will do so at their own detriment over and over and over again. And you're seeing the entitlement come out. And watching Elon Musk try like vacillate between his absolute desire to be liked and worshipped by these weirdos, right? Weirdo to weirdos, versus his like self-righteous, narcissistic need to like be right. Oh, peak. So peak. Loved it. I loved it. It was perfect. Now, of course, this entire thing is infuriating, and we all know, right? Because the justification was they have skills that you don't have. But the truth is, like, as Bernie Sanders sort of broke down, that it has nothing to do with the actual skills, right? Like what the whole point of this, the whole point of these, H-1B visas is not to hire the best and the brightest, right? Because that's the justification. We're using it to hire the best and the brightest, but it's not. They're just cheaper. They outsourced it because they don't want to pay. They don't want these good paying jobs in America are too expensive. So if you bring in people, immigrants from, somewhere else The logic is they're going to be so happy to be here. They're going to work so much harder. But the key point is that it's low wage, indentured servitude from abroad. That's what they want. That's how they save money. That's how they make money. And let's be clear. Like I want to actually change my language. It's not about saving money. It's about exploitation. What's going to give me the highest possible return, even though I don't actually need it, right? The practices that these guys, this oligarchy claims to have, right? We want to invest in America, make America great again. That's not, they have zero interest in that. And knowing, it's hard because it's like the satisfaction that we can take from that is so surface level, because at the end of the day, we all lose out. But I'm going to enjoy my time. Other peak internet moments, Azalea Banks has this perfect quote. When asked if she was homophobic, she said, quote, "I hate the word homophobia. It's not a phobia. Why would I be scared of a faggot?" Sorry. Another one I came across, it's a great headline. Florida man on drugs kills imaginary friend and turns himself in. I understand this so well. The other internet, the huge internet breakpoint that happened over the break, I'm not even joking. This is where we're at. So there was one of the Am I the Asshole Reddit threads. And what I love about these things is they're a reflection of where we are politically. Like these cultural moments are very, very politically charged and didn't show where we are. So there was a person on the internet, and I promise I won't waste our time with slop more than this, but it's just so good. There's a point on the internet. So it's one of those Am I the Assholes? And basically this person says, that identifies as a female in the relationship with her male partner who's autistic, that he is kind of breaking the bank because of the stew that he buys. And because he doesn't like leftovers, he throws out half of it every time. The stew is $50. And she is the full-time worker. So, she's making about 70% of it. And she was trying to save money. And when she tried to recreate it, he was like, "I can't do tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes." But then she found out that there was tomato paste in the thing. So when she made it and he found this out, she didn't like it, whatever. It ended up being this whole fight. I don't want to get into it. I'm realizing I'm getting way too into the weeds, but it was just like this peak internet moment. I'll get the, how do I give you the synthesis? Basically, the discourse was, is it ableist that she explained that even though tomatoes weren't the safe food for him, there was tomato paste in his favorite stew. And then he said, "You've ruined this for me." And then now his family hates her. But she was like, "I just care about this person. I was trying to save money for us. And I thought it was important that he know that there's tomato paste in this soup." And then the internet broke because people were like, "This is ableist and this is not ableist." And there's nothing smart in here. I just wanted to demonstrate to you how deranged we all are. Okay. Okay. Here's peak though, right? Just let me go back to this Elon Musk thing, this Western culture thing, right? Because all of these guys, let's just get into the nitty gritty. All of these guys are going off, right? These white nationalists about how immigrants are destroying Western culture, right? Trans people, gay marriage, all of these things, whatever, are destroying Western culture. And it's all about protecting Western culture. That is what the entire red-pilled right is saying that they're fighting for. It's what all these loser hardcore Republicans are talking about. They're protecting Western interests. And I'm so annoyed. Not because all of the racism, not of course, right? But in this moment, I'm annoyed because you don't respect your own culture. You white men who are red-pilled don't respect your own culture. I'm going to tell you why. Over the internet, holiday era, there was one last thing that broke the internet. And it was Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And no, not the film that he's about to make, but in the fact, and this is that redemption arc that I talked about earlier on. Sorry, it's a little scattered. I'm rusty. I'm getting the ring rust off. We're going to be so smooth, but I hope you're enjoying this rant, this lunacy, because trying to make sense of what happens on the internet is too much for me. It's like I have such a good time with it. But anyway, here's that redemption arc where I'm saying that boomers may not fully know the ins and outs of all the internet lore, culture, breakdowns, language, whatever. But the Western culture protectionists, they're losing their own recipes. It's nobody's fault. So the Odyssey comes out, right? Or the discourse on it. And we discover that a lot of Gen Z, and particularly in the manosphere, they had no idea that the Odyssey is this epic, brilliant, right, ballad written by Homer back in the day. So this guy is like, oh, isn't it weird that the Odyssey and the guy's name is Odysseus? Doesn't anybody think that that's weirdly convenient? As if that's not where that came from. And what we discovered is that the vast majority of folks on this in the manosphere had never heard of the Odyssey. And before we, everybody gets their knickers in a bunch about elitism, no, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. We are not about to lose expertise for the sake of accessibility. The point is to remove the obstacles for it. The Odyssey was covered on The Simpsons, for crying out loud. Like, this was built into the cultural canon. This is like, you don't care about I mean, I know that they don't, but like, you don't care about protecting Western culture because you don't even know the best parts of it. Let me tell you about Western culture that's fucking awesome. Talk to me about Homer and the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? For the record, Emily Wilson just came out with like a new interpretation because, people weren't doing that. And it's alive. It's so vibrant. This new translation of this classic. I think you can find a couple PDFs online, but if you do have a little cash, go ahead and like, I don't know, Spotter or something, because the interpretation, the most recent interpretation, is so accessible, it's so fun, it's so lively and bouncy in a way. But like the Odyssey, right, and the Iliad, these are two of the oldest works of literature in the Western tradition. Not just an epic simply because it's awesome, but an epic because it's an actual epic, right? You don't respect your own shit. Like, what happened to white guys writing fucking amazing works? You want to blame immigrants and trans people? You haven't been peak since The Lost Generation. But can we talk about how amazing Greek mythology is for a second? Like Zeus, that shape-shifting whore that had a bunch of bastard demigods running around causing all kinds of ruckus. The stories about the changing of seasons and Hades, that bitch and Persephone who got all caught up in it. Atlas, niggas, Atlas. Oh my God, how we got fire. Greek mythology brings some of the absolute best stories. You don't even know about those. What do you mean you care about Western tradition? You don't know. You're not protecting your recipes. You're not in the kitchen cooking. You want to talk about Western tradition, the real Western tradition, the real Western culture. It hasn't been peak since The Lost Generation. That's one of my favorite eras of literature. And yes, I am revealing myself as a literature nerd. I am an English major. That's what I had my degree in. Like, bro, before we even get to that, Oedipus, nigga, Oedipus, you're not talking about Oedipus, which you all should because you have problems with it, right? All these Bowies over there. But can we talk, like, you're not writing because you're not reading. But it was peak. Hemingway, Faulkner, T.S. Eliot, right? Fitzgerald, that Lost Generation, right in between, right? The war and industrialization. This was the last time, in my opinion, that we had like peak Western culture. You don't even know your own recipes. You're not serious about this. You're not writing mythologies. You're just bitching online. Okay, I'm sorry. That was That's my last rant. That's my last rant. We gotta get into the goods. We gotta talk about the highs and lows. I was like, let me ease you in, but really clearly, I'm the one that needs to be eased in. Gosh, I've missed you. All right. Let me just transition right quick, LOL, into the winners and losers of the Golden Globe. So winners, Nikki Glaser, killed her monologue. What a redemption arc from Joe Coy. No shade to him, but he just, you can bomb. Bombing is just part of comedy. It's part of what we do. It's part of the process, but don't blame the writers, just don't. If you're bombing, own it and get the audience back on your side by owning the fact that this is a struggle. We all know what it's like to not do well in public. But just from a comedian's perspective and a comedy perspective, she really deserves it. Like, Nikki has crushed in the roast scene. It's not a scene that's easy to like occupy as like, just like a non-dude. You got to really just be able to move with the flow. But she has such dexterity. And she puts so much effort into it. There's a few articles out in the New York Times that just sort of talks about her process. If you're interested in it. Anyway, so good for her. She is able to talk shit and roast without selling out to the red-pilled weenies. Love that. Second winner, Jessica Gunning from Baby Reindeer. Hell fucking yeah. Anna Sawai, Shogun. Hell yes. Wicked. Sin didn't get it. Should have, but that's okay. It got the cinematic and box office achievement. Other wins of note that I liked, that I think matters, Fernanda Torres, like Brazil won with her for I'm Still Here. And then one of the big moments that I really think I'm going to be watching closely for the discourse. Okay. So Carla Sofia Gascon for won. Emilia Perez, which won for Best Musical. So she spoke, right? And the whole story is of a Mexican drug lord who undergoes gender affirmation surgery. So just the log line, perfect. Thing to note about Gascon, she transitioned, right? So she transitioned, M2F. She transitioned in 2016, and like literally, she might become the first openly transgender actor to be nominated for an Oscar. What I love, right? And she had this really great piece and just sort of just talked about, light always triumphing over darkness. I can't speak to the musical because I haven't seen it, but this is my favorite thing about it, right? There's very strong opinions about this musical, and it has nothing to do with the trans actor at all. It's because some people think it's absolute garbage. Like that is nature correcting itself. That's nature correcting our mistakes. The controversy should be not about whether or not a character is trans or should be in it, but whether or not the art is actually good. I think we're so past this like the simplicity or the oversimplification of trans representation, right, in media. And I don't want us to be in the place where bad art is somehow injurious to the trans or queer community. We're so beyond that. So I love that. And the last big winner of note was Demi Moore's 40-inch semi-middle part bust down. She did a hair flip. It swept away all the negativity of 2024. There's only one loser to note here. One. And that was God. God lost at the Globes. So Nikki Glaser pointed out that no one really gave the man upstairs a shout out, even though Mario Lopez got one. There's at these awards, there's usually like a litany, right? Of thank you to God. They were conspicuously absent, right? I think it's at this point, it's because God is currently not repped by CAA. I did check. But if you are worried or stressed out about the lack of, God shout outs and God lore at the Globes, do not despair. The BET Awards will more than make up for that later on this year. We're guaranteed that. Okay. I've lost the plot. I shouldn't have been let out. I shouldn't have been let out. This was the most deranged slew of rants like and some political leanings. I apologize for this. I missed you. I apologize for this. You know what? Let me just hit the VMs for the voice note. I've lost it. I have lost the plot. Let's go. What do we got? Let's hit it.
All right, my question is, what is one kindness of yours that goes unnoticed? And by that I mean like one thing you do regularly, or not even regularly, but something that you do throughout your life when you're interacting with others that is a kindness, something that you do that is like you giving people grace, but something that people will never notice or never like acknowledge or even recognize that they benefit from. All right, that's it.
This is like a really interesting question. So first of all, like thanks, Phoenicia, for the question. Maybe something will come to me later, but to be honest with you, I can't think of one, and I not because the kindnesses don't happen, but I think I tried to cultivate friendships where those things are kind of seen. Like what I can say this. One of the things that I work really really hard at doing, and I can't say that it's not acknowledged, but I take great pleasure in never forgetting what my friends, particularly my close friends, have shared with me, right? And so you meet so many versions of people. Just think about how many versions of you have existed, and I think one of the hardest things with adult friendships is that lack of history. I think sometimes we long to be seen in a particular way in that fullness. And so when I get stories from my close friends, memories or reflections, even if they're offhand, I store them away. It's like I kind of approach it as like an archivist, and it helps to paint things in so that when something small happens, I can understand how it's an achievement. Like let's say somebody, you know, was kind of not fully seen at home, right? Or maybe was in the shadow of siblings, or struggled with their mother. That might be communicated indirectly in some sort of memory. And one of my favorite things to do is to reflect those things back to somebody, that growth or an achievement that may not be recognized, otherwise. But I can't say that that's a kindness that goes unnoticed. I have very, very, robust and intense, relations and dialogues with friends. But I think I can do that because I don't have many, and also because I'm just a very intense. Like I don't even know how else to say it. I take it, but I don't even know that it's a kindness because I take such great pleasure in knowing the fullness of those around me. It's I find my friends and just people generally just so fucking fascinating. I think it's partly why I stay home so much is because I just gotta know. I'm like, tell me everything about you. But I love this prompt. I love this prompt, and I'm so curious of what some of that the question would bring up for others. But I love getting to know people. I think what I struggle with is that you can't do that when you're in public. I'm really comfortable on a stage, and really comfortable in intimate settings with people that I know. But anything else, I get weird, and then I stand in the corner and wait for somebody to come get me. So and maybe that's a kindness I really appreciate from my friends is that they know to just come get me. If they haven't heard from me in a while, I'll stand exactly where you left me and I'll wait. All right, I do realize that I sound like I sound like a person with a touch of the tism. I know. Okay. More questions like that. This is great. I watched a lot of anime. This show and the platform that I want to, that we're going, the brain trust that we're going to be building out together. I'll talk about more of it as we get in the week. I'm just really excited. And there's a couple of you that I haven't gotten back to just yet with emails, that are talking about how, excited you are and how you can jump in and don't stress, those I'm sending those back. I just wanted to make sure that I brought in a certain level of intentionality because you matter and your time matters. And I just, but this is our fucking time. Whether you had a rough holiday or whether you had a great holiday or just a mid one, right? Whatever it was, we're back. We are so back. Whatever mood or energy this finds you in on Monday, just remember how fucking awesome you are. Because I was so down, but just the idea of connecting with you has me I'm ready to go. Like, I'm so ready to go. We need so much community. We need so much authentic interaction. And one of the things I can't stand about the, my presence on the internet is it's just me. It's like, that's what a meme is, right? We share memes. It's just like, me. Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you, but I love getting to know you. And I want to know so much more about you in this community that we're building. And I cannot wait to expand it out. Anyway, I'm yapping. I know. The ring rust is off. I'm going to come with that sharp political takes, the laughter, the fun, the community. We are not doing this shit alone. We're not going through it alone. You are not alone. This is our time, our era. Don't just consume content, create it, make art. Everything, every idea starts out as just that. This year, we are actualizing our ideas. This is not the diary time, right? This is not the dream time. This is the real world time. It's time for us to build those dreams out. I love you all so much. It seems about time to hit that end of I'm rusty too. I'm like, where is the music? Okay, here we go. Oop, I didn't even do it. Did you hear that? I said it and I didn't do it. Here we go. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to JFK Today. It means the world to me. This show really is a labor of love. New episodes drop 5 times a week. We're available everywhere podcasts are. If you love the show, feel free to support as best you can. We're on Patreon at Janaya FK. Don't forget, I want to hear from you. Drop your voice note questions to jfktodaysshow@gmail.com. Shout out to Carolyn and KR. And shout out to you, the listeners that make it all possible. Love you. Peace.